I am by no means a philosopher. In fact, it was just a few months ago, in the midst of my depression, that I began an interest in philosophy to become aware of my situation and the causes around it. And in that search for awareness, I discovered nihilism and the philosophies that it embodies. Nihilism, at its core, is the belief that life is entirely meaningless, moral values are baseless, or that knowledge is impossible. However, it's also, at least in my experience, in speaking to people with depression and being depressed myself, the most commonly held philosophy by depressed people. I believe that this is because it can be used as a sort of excuse or reasoning for people with depression. Before anything else, I'd just like to add that this is by no means me disregarding what millions of people go through. It is simply what I have thought and what I think currently. The reasoning or excuse that nihilism might give, however, is very damaging to the person and gives them the idea that because life has no meaning, they have no reason to do anything or pursue anything, and that they have no purpose, which is just a downward spiral from that point onwards that leads to more negative thinking problems that may eventually lead to someone taking their own life. Again, this is not me saying that the only reason people take their own life is due to their own philosophies or ideas, just in that some cases it might be part of it. Nihilism is very often confused with another very popular philosophy, existentialism. Existentialism is similar to nihilism in the belief that life has no inherent meaning. The difference between the two lies after this. Nihilism is the thought that no meaning can ever be made. Existentialism is the thought that meaning of life is created throughout one's experience of life. I think it's summarized perfectly in the quote by Jean-Paul Sartre. What do we mean by saying that existence precedes essence? We mean that man first of all exists, encounters himself, surges up in the world, and defines himself afterwards. The word essence in this quote is the equivalent of purpose. It's saying that a person is born without purpose, but once they find themselves, they gain a purpose. Yet a lot of people that suffer from depression can't find themselves or find a purpose, which is why that is when existentialism gains belief in someone's head, when they find that purpose. I think that nihilism is the train of thought that is a cause of sadness and depression, but existentialism is the hope that so many lack. And this hope is the precise reason for my thought process that existentialism is a cause of a depressed person healing from their mental wounds. This is just my experience of depression and healing from depression. And this is my view and interpretation of nihilism and existentialism through my very little research and very little philosophical knowledge. I'm by no means an expert. I simply wanted to share my thoughts and experiences of healing.